The Charlie Charlie Game, a fun yet creepy game kids for some reason play, despite the potential dangers and risks of speaking to a spooky ghost or demon. Forget Ouija boards. This game could be used as a plot point for a horror movie, or a collection of short skits. Which coincidentally is the topic that we'll be discussing today. The series we'll be exploring is titled Playing Charlie Charlie in Class Be Like, which is created by Roy Dubois. And listen, I'm going to be serious when I say this. Watching the series and going into it blind is 100% worth it. I'm just going to be recapping the story because I really enjoyed it and I want to share it with you all. However, I won't really be going into too much details about the jokes, which makes the series worth it. Just know there's classic skit humor like funny sound effects, wigs getting snatched, fun personalities, and no mercy. So links are in the description. However, if you still need convincing, fine, stick around and listen to my recap. I'll be splitting the series into 3 acts, so get a snack, relax, and as always, my name is Estrella. Let's explore. Act 1. Game Start. In the very beginning, we get introduced to our cast of characters, which are a bunch of students in a classroom. And you can tell there's a lot of characters because they all have different hairstyles, a classic for these types of skits. Anyways, I'll be giving them nicknames related to their hairstyles or actions until their names get revealed in the series. With that being said, the redhead asks their classmates if they know what the Charlie Charlie game is, and in response, they said they don't know. So the redhead explains how the game works. Everyone must sit in a circle and ask Charlie questions by using a paper with 2 yeses and 2 nos and a pencil that will ominously glide towards the answer. This both unsettled and interested many of the classmates, so they began to play, and a student named Sarah was the first to ask a question. Charlie, Charlie, is the teacher here? And the response was no. Because of this fast response, the redhead was convinced that someone moved the pencil and briefly blamed another student named Zach. However, without confirmation and the lack of seeing anyone actually move the pencil, they decided to ignore that and have someone else ask a question. Charlie, Charlie, are you here with us? And the answer was yes. This question started catching more of the students' attention, and one student believes that the past couple of questions were lame, so they asked, Charlie, Charlie, are you dead? This made a student audibly gasp because it's an insensitive question. However, the student who asked the question wants whoever is moving the pencil to answer. However, this was interrupted when suddenly a door creaked open by seemingly nobody. What makes things worse is that they couldn't exactly blame the wind since they were indoors, and they needed someone to check to verify how the door opened. They argued for a bit until a pink-haired student asked, Charlie, Charlie, should Brittany be the one to go? And the answer was yes. By the way, Brittany is the redhead from the beginning, and they immediately responded by beating the crap out of the pink-haired student, and then rejected the suggestion to check. However, another student says that it seems like this mysterious entity wants Brittany to look because the door continues to open wider. Brittany, of course, says, screw you, Charlie, I'm not moving, but then Zach steps forward and said Brittany was chosen to go. So Brittany said they'll only go if Chloe follows. By the way, Chloe is the pink-haired student that asked the question in the first place, and Chloe agrees to follow if it means they'll be forgiven, and the two approach the door, to which Brittany said, Charlie, Charlie, come get me. Then unexpectedly, she pushes Chloe inside the room, then slams the door behind her, to her sister's dismay. Chloe's sister begins to argue with Brittany, to which Brittany said that they're overreacting, and when the sister tried picking a fight, Brittany snatched her blue wig immediately. The other students then started claiming that Brittany practically killed Chloe, and it was alarming that she hasn't stepped out of the room yet. Then, unexpectedly, knocking could be heard coming from the door, and Zach gets up to answer it, which the other students protest against because the situation is, well, a little frightening. So Brittany decided to be the one to stop him. However, she was immediately slapped in the face and knocked to the ground. This filled her with rage, and Brittany started wailing on Zach. This led to a full-blown fight in the classroom, and Chloe's sister decided to get up to answer the door while everyone was distracted. However, Brittany still noticed this, and after knocking Zach down, she immediately went after the sister, but it was too late because the door was opened. Act 2. Possession. The door opens, and on the other side was Chloe. However, something seems off. Her head is pointed downwards, and no matter how many questions were thrown at her, she remains silent. Her sister believes that she's just in shock and tries helping her to her seat, but Brittany assumed Chloe was only after attention and aggressively poked her shoulder. This made the sister mad, however, she can't do much because Brittany will immediately respond with violence. Anyways, they all sat back down and asked Brittany how they can end the game, but she doesn't know. So many of the students assumed it's a similar rule to the Ouija board where they just have to say goodbye, so in unison, they say, Charlie, Charlie, goodbye. But unexpectedly, Chloe, or something else, says no in a disturbed and twisted voice. This of course freaked out the students, and unexpectedly a door opened. Luckily, it was just the teacher, Miss Edna, who complained that the students were making a ruckus. This is when Edna learns that the students were playing the Charlie Charlie game and told them to shut it down. However, the students don't think they can, so Edna decided to be the one to end it for them and started approaching the paper and pencil. However, Chloe, with the same twisted voice from before, said, no you won't. And at this point, it's becoming abundantly clear that Chloe is possessed, and she starts to giggle uncontrollably, which a student says she's crazy, and that made her immediately stop to turn and look at them, which made the student turn away and go silent. Back to the teacher, regardless of how strange the situation is, Edna still grabs the paper and crushes it in their palm, which made Chloe mad, and unexpectedly, with a flick of her wrist, the teacher's body snapped and twisted before hitting the ground. This obviously freaked out the class, and one of the students attempted to leave, but possessed Chloe continued to use their supernatural powers to keep the door shut. So the students asked what Charlie wants. However, Chloe's sister, whose name is now revealed to be Veronica, is convinced that Chloe is still in there. Sadly, Charlie said that she's gone, and since the teacher was killed, that should be obvious. Anyways, Brittany assumed what Charlie wants is to continue the game, and Charlie says, bingo, then continues to say that the game will continue until there's only one left. This statement needed more clarification from one of the students, and that led to their neck getting snapped. So this is a death game, and Brittany is more than willing to figure out a way to beat Charlie in their own game and asks Charlie if the game can be beaten. Charlie had no choice but to answer and magically moved the pencil to say yes. Another student then asked how the game can be beaten, but Charlie stopped them because it was their turn to ask a question, and they ask who wants to play rock, paper, scissors. The loser will be the next to die. The chopstick-obsessed student named Abby then responded by saying no one is going to play their game, but Charlie took that as them volunteering, and when Abby tried to reject the suggestion, Charlie snapped her neck. Charlie then tells the class that they have no choice but to play or else they'll die as a consequence, which gave Brittany an idea and suggested the game Uno. So the class begins to play, and Charlie adds in the rules that anyone who gets more than 7 cards will die, and whoever's not playing will also die. 2 students died off the bat because of this, but this didn't freak out Brittany, and she made a strategy plan with another student named Tiffany to +4 Charlie. However, Veronica, Chloe's sister, still believes Chloe is in there and used a skip on Tiffany, but as a consequence, she ended up getting +4'd and +2'd, then died. Oof. Anyways, the game continues, and the only non-possessed students left are Brittany, Tiffany, and Zach. Actually, never mind, because Zach was knocked out for a while and wasn't technically participating in the game, they were soon killed, meaning it's just Tiffany and Brittany, and possessed Chloe, of course. So Brittany manages to get an Uno, and because she won, possessed Charlie decided to pretend to be the real Chloe to trick the remaining students to avoid death. However, both Brittany and Tiffany are smart and immediately knew it was still Charlie. So Charlie cut the charade, and both Tiffany and Brittany were ready to beat the crap out of Charlie. However, Charlie asked if they would prefer just to continue talking. The 2 students of course said no, and Charlie starts to run away before removing their possession over Chloe, and the 2 students offed her, still believing she was possessed, and honestly, I don't blame them. Act 3. Time skip. It's a year later, and we see Brittany at home saying goodbye to Tiffany after hanging out with each other, but unexpectedly, Zach appeared at her front door. This was obviously confusing because she could have sworn he died. Regardless, Brittany insulted Zach and locked the door behind her. However, Zach manages to get inside, and it's obviously Charlie who's made a return. Brittany immediately ran away and hid under a bed while Charlie searched for her around the house. And what makes things worse is that Tiffany returned because she left her keys, which Charlie promptly charged at her. But Tiffany manages to outsmart him with a fart and then hid under a bed, which coincidentally was the same location Brittany was hiding in. And as Charlie continues to search for them, Tiffany asks Brittany what the heck is going on and learns that Charlie returned, which was shocking because they could have sworn Charlie was killed. Then they realized that the door was unlocked. So the 2 friends had no choice but to get ready and fight. However, the person opening the door wasn't Charlie. Instead, it was Brittany's mother, who was complaining that she wasn't told in advance that company was coming over to the house, but she then decided to brush it off and go take a bath. The 2 friends then looked at each other, questioning where Charlie went, and unexpectedly Charlie appeared and slammed the door shut, which freaked out Brittany because her mother is outside with that monster, and they can't get out of the room to warn her. The 2 friends then tried to break the door down, but couldn't, and Charlie began to drown Brittany's mother. Brittany then calls the police, and unexpectedly the door was unlocked, so they ran out as the police were quickly arriving. What happens next after this? Nothing, because it's a cliffhanger. Are you mad? Excited? Whatever you're feeling, hold on to that because it's time for the conclusion. Conclusion. Brittany is our main character. Headstrong, feisty, a little mean, willing to fight anyone, and confident. She managed to outlive the majority of her classmates and outsmarted Charlie, but because Charlie refused to play fair and waited for Brittany's guard to be lowered, it left Brittany a bit surprised and panicked since her family is now involved. With that being said, let's make predictions about what to expect in the future. Look, I can't make theories and I don't want to end the recap without sharing my thoughts, so I'm going to throw out my ideas of what I think might happen, okay? First prediction, I believe Brittany and Tiffany will have to return to the school and find the pencil and paper that started the game if they want any shot at ending it for good. And while exploring the school, I think Charlie is going to raise the dead, specifically the corpses of the classmates, to hunt down the best friends before they can find the items. Oh wait, the police, I almost forgot. Since Brittany's mother was drowned and if she doesn't survive, there's a chance that the crime will be somehow pinned on the best friends, and the two might be forced to go on the run from the police. And if Charlie kills a cop to further incriminate the friends, this will only be a bigger problem in the long run. Anyways, I think the story will go like this. It begins with the police interrogating the best friends, accusing them, the best friends then go on the run. While running, Charlie continues to torment them and kill more people everywhere they go, so more crimes will be pinned on them, and eventually the friends will have to return to the school, avoid getting killed, and destroy the pencil and paper, or do a ritual, to end the game for good. And they might even have to talk to a demon specialist at some point to learn about the steps to finish the game. Maybe there will even be an epic sacrifice. Maybe Brittany or Tiffany will sacrifice themselves for the other. Who knows? This is what I think will happen next. I don't exactly have any evidence or clues that will point me to this assumption. I'm personally just a writer with an active imagination, and I want to share my fanfic ideas with you. Regardless of whatever happens in the story, I'm sure it's going to be entertaining, and honestly, it might be creepier too. I'm saying this because based on the visuals of possessed Zack towards the end of the series, there might be more horror elements added in the future, which is exciting. I love horror and comedy, but I'm sure you already know that. So did this video convince you to watch the series yourself? Hope so. Actually, there's so many other skits on Roy's channel with other interesting and fun plots, so check them out for yourself, bruh. Do it. Experience the crazy shenanigans. Links are in the description. With that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, do the funny little notification thing, maybe follow my other social medias, leave a comment, and I better not catch you dying on me. Goodbye!